Hey everyone, hopefully you can hear me just fine. Just doing this as an impromptu chat. I've had a few of you decide to go and send me emails as of late. The fact that I've um, been out of touch on the number of videos that I usually make and stuff like that. And a lot of you have become friends over the years, and a few people have gotten a hold of me asking if everything's okay and stuff like that. Because I'm usually pretty good about doing at least 2 videos a week most of the time. So a bunch of people have gotten a hold of me, and I figured I'd get up here and talk a little bit and maybe answer a few live questions while the wood stove is warming up in the garage, and then go get to work so that you guys can have some videos to watch other than some babbling head on a screen talking to a webcam. Um, so basically what's transpired over the last couple of weeks is that with COVID here in Maine, a lot of the schools have ended up shutting down. They've transitioned to at-home learning and stuff like that. And as most of you know, John is John is in a situation of a split household because of my divorce from his mom. And usually what happens is John is normally with me. That's not a beer cracking, that's a ginger ale. I haven't fallen off the wagon. I've seen people send me messages about that too. So usually in his shared custody, normally I have him every single weekend from Friday until Sunday or Monday-ish, depending on the time of year. And normally she has him during the week and stuff. But what's ended up happening with the schools and everything else, there kind of was let's just say there was an overwhelming meltdown on the other side of the situation, and the custody has been switched at this point. So John is with me Monday through Friday, but he is really behind on his schoolwork and he's attempting to go and catch up right now. And so instead of pulling the 5 hours a day that his schooling is supposed to be in remote learning, he's currently pulling about 7 to 9 hours a day worth of remote learning. And a lot of it requires me to go and be there and be helping him at this time. So by the time you end up doing all the remote learning from 8 o'clock in the morning until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, once sunset hits here in Maine, all of the temperatures drop 15 degrees outside. So if during the day it is 30 degrees, just barely freezing, whatever, the moment you hit sunset, within about 20 minutes to half an hour, it drops to 15 degrees. And as you guys know, my shop isn't as insulated as it really ought to be. Yet again, there's been a couple of other little hiccups that have happened, and so I haven't been able to get the shop insulated like I was hoping. So that's where I'm at as far as that goes. John's learning situation is getting more ironed out. So the next question that anybody would end up throwing me at that point is, well, how come Jesse isn't helping you? And the awesome news is that Jesse managed to go and get a job, and she's pulling solid hours, except for, ironically, her hours are right exactly during the time that John has all of his schooling. So yet again, that puts me at the point of playing Mr. Mom and figuring out everything. But Jessie scored an awesome job. She's really loving the new job. At some point when she's comfortable and she's on a video chat and stuff, I'll let her explain her new job and stuff like that if she wants to. But she's got a new job. She's pulling solid hours. And considering the way that COVID, the pandemic, and everything has been, I couldn't ask for anything better than that. Because right now we've got a roof over our head, we got plates of food on our tables, we've got a bed to sleep in, and we got heat coming out of the furnace, and we got transportation, as John says. So we're doing really good. It's just we need to reorganize things at this point. as it is right now, the way the schedule is going to work, I will try my damnedest to be able to work straight through solidly on Saturdays so that you guys can have a video come Monday-ish. Once John's schooling is a little more stable and we're not just flying by the seat of our pants or whatever, we will get into a schedule of trying to do some sort of video during the week. The problem is, until John is caught up and his schooling is situated, I just can't get into the shop and get hours going. I don't know if any of you have dealt with a younger child and this remote learning stuff. That's the polite political term to use. And this stuff that's going on with the kids and learning in the Zoom meetings and stuff like that in schools. But the teachers constantly are having the kids go get the parents and constantly need the parents to show up and constantly interrupting and stuff. And I have tried politely numerous times to explain to John's teacher that I work from home. I need to be working during these hours. You're totally, utterly messing up my ability to go and do my job. But the real reality is, as a parent, your child has to come first. So yeah, it's been a hell of a learning curve. We're going into week 3 at this point of the transition. John's schooling is about 50% caught up from what he was behind on for the most part. So I need about another week worth of transition, I'm assuming. And then hopefully things will be back to the more normal 2 videos a week. You guys are used to seeing a video usually about 1 on Monday and 1 on Thursday to Friday-ish, occasionally a Sunday video. And what I'm going to be shooting for, with no guarantees because I'm winging it by the seat of my pants right now, is probably a video release of probably a premiere on Monday morning, if possible, so that I can do the premiere during John's schooling time, since I'm stuck upstairs and here anyway for his Zoom meetings on Mondays because of the teacher. So I might do a premiere then and maybe attempt to do another video premiere somewhere later in the week. If you guys want to throw down in the comments, you know, whether like a Thursday night premiere is better, or whether maybe I should wait and do it on a Saturday morning, but then that puts you guys waiting 5 days. I'm thinking Monday and then Thursday night a premiere. I'm thinking like maybe Monday morning and a Thursday night. But feel free to comment what it is sounds better to you and stuff like that. You know, just throwing it out there. So that's where I'm at right now. In other news, you know, I used to have a shirt years ago. That said, I don't own a monkey wrench. I get them thrown at me for free. And Amazon decided all of a sudden to charge out my entire credit card on me. I ended up building up a bunch of credit card debt on Amazon during my divorce because, well, let's face it, I needed a way to survive. And Amazon somehow ended up attempting to go and charge me my entire credit card balance all at once out of nowhere, and decided to nail my bank account. And, well, let's just say they liquidated it into a really negative state. So I can't order any parts right now. So the bulldozer build is on hold because I have come up with a few parts I need to order, and I had just cashed out some money out of my Robinhood account, and I cashed out my some money out of my Robinhood account just before this Amazon glitch happened. And so I was going to order parts, and that didn't quite happen. So there was my other monkey wrench that got thrown into my YouTube stuff. For those of you who don't know, a lot of YouTubers this is a fun fact about YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers, as they build up, a lot of them will take their overage. They'll decide on a certain amount that they make that they can live on. Then they'll take a certain amount that they can produce YouTube videos using, and then they'll take that overage and they'll usually use it as an investment plan. My particular investment plan that I run for my YouTube channel is I run a Robinhood account, which is a stock investment plan. It's free to set up, and in fact, I'll add the link down below on the description. I added it previously because I was planning on talking about it, but down below in the description, there's a Robinhood link. And if you're interested in it, you can sign up and get a free stock through Robinhood. Usually it's a stock somewhere between around $20 to $5 for free, and lets you get signed up into Robinhood. And it's free, no commissions, no nothing whatsoever. Basically, what Robinhood does is they use your standing account, anything that you have as liquid cash there, as a bank would do for rollover investments and stuff, which is how they keep it commission free. What that means, though, is that if you have money in Robinhood and you go to cash it back to your bank account, it means that it takes 3 days for them to roll it back out of their investment plans. So it takes a little bit of planning ahead, but it's free. No commissions, no nothing. If you're curious, feel free to go onto the link and sign up. And the only thing that you need is a standing bank account that's been around for at least a year in order to sign up. So feel free to take a look at that if that's something you're interested in. But I've been doing a lot of stock trading. I do a lot of penny stocks and stuff like that. And actually, with John's schooling, I've been stuck at my computer for hours. And so I've ended up doing a bunch of stock trades, and I actually made $150 last week, which was kind of fun. I think the best I've ever done trading stocks, I think I got around $400 in the account right now. I think the best I've ever done using $400 is I think I made about $50 in a week. So $150 was a new personal gain that I was really proud of. But yeah, so just another useful little thing about YouTubers. A lot of us will set a limit that we live on, a limit that we use for investments, and anything limit for reinvestment into the YouTube channel. And then anything past that, we usually use for investment capital. And the reason for that with YouTubers, if you don't know, is that in January, YouTube advertisement plummets. I'm not allowed to basically talk about what it is I technically make on YouTube, but let's just say if you made $1,000 in December, you would be lucky to make $500 in January. So what a lot of YouTubers do is they base, like if you were used to making $1,000, you'd base your entire year on $750, and then you'd roll over the investments so that during January, February, and March, that you'd have that $250 from the other 9 months to be able to survive through those 3 months added on. And then once you hit the end of March, you'd be able to take all the leftover and then re-up the ante into YouTube during the profitable time of YouTube. YouTube is primarily profitable at the beginning of summer, and then usually there's a spike in the center of summer. There's a spike usually around Halloween, usually around Thanksgiving, and one last spike usually somewhere around December, 2 weeks before Christmas. So that is just, a little bit of throw out there. But anyways, that's enough about me. My stove downstairs is warming up, so I'm going to go through your comments that I've seen you guys scrolling up through here and see if there's any questions or anything you guys have thrown up in order to go and answer. I'll probably take about half an hour to do that. But if you guys want to see some actual videos instead of just some talking stupid bobblehead, you know, drinking ginger ale, babbling at a screen, then I need to get to work. So let's see what we can do. What do we got for questions going on in the chat? Let's see if we can answer a few, and then I'm going to go get to work. Let's see. Jonathan, I'm continuing my 1984 Husky lawn tractor project. Engine and 4-speed are good, but it has other problems. Every project has other problems, dude. Simplistic. Keep it simple, Simon. Stupid. I get guys all the time. All the time they think they're going to go and wire in 20 dozen toggle switches, and they think they're going to wire in Arduinos in order to control stuff and everything else. Do not ever do that until you get the simple Simon stupid stuff going first. If it doesn't run, if it doesn't drive, and if you don't have brakes, don't ever care about headlights. Don't ever care about horns. Don't ever care about air compressors. Don't ever care about anything else. If it does not run, drive, and have brakes and steer, I forgot to add and steer because that's pretty important too. If it doesn't do those 4 things, don't ever bother doing anything else. It doesn't matter. All the fancy, dumb things. You can give it a $500 paint job, and it doesn't matter $5 if it can't manage to go and run, drive, steer, and have brakes. So keep it simple. Always, always, always keep it simple at the start. You can always add to a build. It's a pain in the neck to subtract from it. Did you ever find any different color Furbies? The problem is up here, I don't ever see Furbies ever anywhere. Occasionally I will get on eBay and I'll hunt around, but the cost on Furbies is usually somewhere around like $30 or something like that. And there's just a lot of better ways that I can spend $30. I love the Furby thing. I swear by it. If anybody ever wants to utterly, totally make John's day, John, when he was growing up and he was a little itty bitty toddler, used to ride with me in my truck going on tractor hunts, and he had what was called a Furby baby, and it was pearl white. It was a pearl white Furby baby, and he literally used to gaga googa whatever, talk to that stupid thing until he crashed out in his chair and slept for tractor rides all over the state of Maine, talking to that Furby. Unfortunately, ever since my house was trashed during the divorce, we have yet to find it. My ex knew that it was really important to him because it always stayed in a very safe location in my garage. And I'm going to bet that it probably was destroyed or burnt or some stupid, dumb, inappropriate term reaction was done to it. So if anybody ever has one of those, comes across it or whatever, and you want to go and send one to my P.O. box, it's 131 P.O. Box, Belfast, Maine. I would absolutely be indebted to you. It's one of the few things that John was really upset about when we finally managed to make it back to living here. And if anybody ever finds one, even if it doesn't work, just having it would utterly be the most amazing, heartfelt thing anybody could ever do for John. So just throwing that out there. I'm always hunting for Furbies to throw into the videos. I have so many people that get a hold of me and tell me that their kids watch the videos hunting for the Furbies, and that they literally go back through old videos, not caring what the how-to video is. They just want to see if there's a Furby there. And that's really heart touching, and I love reading those comments. Well, when I can read comments, thanks to YouTube. But that's why we have RCG Racing, and the Furby tradition will probably end up existing over on RC. Oh, actually, it already does. The Furby tradition has moved over to RCG Racing. So feel free to go and look for them over there. I will try to occasionally put them in on videos. Let's see. How's the drag racing mowers coming? So at this point, the small mod and the big mod are set aside for winter. They're put away and stored. The small mod machine actually will probably get replaced by the diesel. The diesel build technically actually fits within the small mod specs as far as their legalities on the rules are concerned. So unless they decide to go and create some rule in order to deliberately technically ban the diesel build, I'm going to try to run it as a small mod dragster, and we'll see what happens. I don't expect it to be the fastest thing out there, but if I can be the first lawn tractor drag racer to roll coal on a drag strip, I'm going to do it. So we'll see. That's my goal with that. The other thing is, right now, the only engine that I have that would be an easy hot swap, do it in 30 minutes, engine swap for my big snowblower that I got up and running, the $100 snowblower, is ironically on the small mod dragster. So that motor there is the only one I have on hand that would be a 30-minute swap in the middle of a snowstorm. So I'm keeping it set aside with the governor still on it, so that if something goes wrong, I can manage to swap that over for a snowstorm. The other thing is that engine actually has more horsepower than the motor that's on my snowblower assembly right now. So I may end up swapping it anyway, depending on what we run into for storms this year. It's evening in Europe. Hello, Europe. It's amazing. I got guys from Belgium, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy that get a hold of me. I've actually had a couple of Italian guys get a hold of me about the diesel build. Diesels are big. They're big in Italy. Those guys live, breathe, and love two-cylinder diesel engines over there. Everything is massively based around diesel engine type stuff over there. So I've actually had a couple of guys get a hold of me about the diesel build as far as that's concerned. And they've been telling me there's actually one on Marketplace in my area right now, but it is way too decrepit for me to take a look at. But apparently there is a two-cylinder Perkins that is in, it's a two-cylinder Perkins with hydro drive that is common in a lot of small sailboats. And where I live near the coast, and there are a lot of shipyards around me, some of the guys have reached out to me and told me that I should see if I can get a hold of one of those, because apparently they convert over to using radiators really well. They use a flow-through system. For bilge water and stuff like, not bilge water, running water from the exterior of the boat. But apparently they convert over to radiator systems really well and easily. So I've debated keeping an eye for one of those and maybe do a Perkins two-cylinder build at some point. They're also fully mechanical, which makes them really sought after and really majorly high hours they run on. But I'm very new to the diesel thing, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Let's see. Bama Mowers says, I have 2 kids homeschooling. I feel for you. I totally do. You know, my father was a teacher for 36 years. So I have an understanding and a background in helping with teaching, plus doing the how-to videos for you guys. And I also was a lifeguard doing instructional with kids and stuff, and doing swim lessons and helping with other lifeguards during training. CPR, first aid certified, and all of that kind of stuff, and helping with training doing that. So I get the whole teacher background and stuff, but you know, the amount of monkey wrench that this has thrown into my life in order to help with John has just been an utter total blindside. So, you know, doing what I can and getting as close to back to normal as we can in order to be able to go and get some videos out for you guys. But that's just wanted it thrown out there because you guys have become really like a micro family for me. And a lot of you will send me emails, and a lot of you will send me messages in the Redneck Computer Geek Facebook page and stuff like that when I end up out of whack as far as video production. And so I just wanted to reach out and say hi and tell you that we're doing good. And, you know, John is catching up, and Jesse's got her new job, which is amazing. It's utterly, totally amazing, especially in the economy, the way things are going. And so we're getting there. We just need another week to smooth things out, and we'll be back to our usual 2 videos a week. At least that's the goal. I really was hoping to be into 3 videos a week and starting up a 3rd YouTube channel that has nothing whatsoever to do with Redneck Computer Geek. But, you know, when the monkey wrenches get thrown at you, fix something with them. So that's what we're doing. Let's see here. All right, let's see. Spartan Spat. Hi, I'm back. I have a problem with my John Deere STX 38. It was running fine, and then I shut it off at my friend's house. And a little while later, I went back to start it, and it wouldn't even turn over. Wouldn't even turn over. See, the problem with wouldn't even turn over is you got a bunch of different things. I've seen wouldn't even turn over be hydro lock from a stuck needle valve flooding the engine. Wouldn't even turn over could also be your clutch and brake safety switch decided to just drop dead on you and hates you and won't even kick the solenoid. The first thing that I would do as far as that is concerned is I would see if you can turn it by hand. Turn it by hand, see whether it'll actually turn over, and then set your ignition switch to the run position and deliberately bump start it right across that starter solenoid. And if it'll run at that situation and it'll start at that situation, then most likely it's your brake safety switch just decided that it hates you. The other thing is it also could be that your seat switch decided to short. I've seen that happen numerous times where the seat switch, for some reason, it'll just decide that it was that one last time that you went bang on it and it died. It broke, it whatever. I've seen Craftsman switches literally split in half and never contact ever again. And when you look at the bottom of them going up in, they'll look perfectly fine. But when you actually rip it out of the seat, you'll find the top is actually split and that the piston pusher, whatever thing, has actually come up through into the seat. And so it'll never toggle ever again. But yeah, as far as that goes, you know, turn it over by hand. Make sure it's not hydro lock from a bad stuck needle. And then jump that solenoid. Make sure that it'll actually turn over. If it'll start when it's in the run position, it's almost always a stupid safety switch. And yours sounds like it's a generation that would have the double safety. And I would just plain convert it to push button if it was me. If it's for a customer, then do what the customer asks. But if it is your own personal machine and you're going to be bouncing it around and everything else, convert it to push button. Don't mess with any of that safety stuff. Go back and watch the rewire that I posted on RCG Racing. That rewire was a similar situation. The machine turned over. It was doing fine. He went to play with a couple of things and checking the previous owner's wiring and discovered it was burnt out. Let's see. You're one of the only people who stay this positive when stuff like this happens. I admire that. Dude, when you've been through some of the stuff that I have, it's either turn into a grumpy Gus or decide to just say the heck with it and roll with the punches. I'm a very firm believer that it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up and keep in the fight. You know, I've got a lot of reasons that I could decide to go and claim disability, or I could decide to go and be all woe is me, or that I could decide to go and stop doing what I'm doing and just slouch it out or whatever. You know, between my neck injury, my knee injury, between dealing with the skin cancer stuff and everything else, between all of it, I could decide to roll over. But what fun is that? I mean, keep it living. I'm still here. I'm still breathing, and every day above ground is a good day. And I swear you better bury me deeper than 6 feet, because I'm going to dig right out of that thing. It just keep it going. It's not worth giving up, you know, and that's just the way that I look at things. So every day above ground's a good day. And if you do find yourself there, well, dig out. Every dandelion starts in a piece of concrete somewhere. All right. How much do you make a year flipping tractors? Well, for the sake of the answer, let me word it as if I wasn't making YouTube videos. If I wasn't making YouTube videos, I guarantee that I could probably clear $1,000 a week. And that's profit. That's not $1,000 selling 2 or 3 machines total. That's profit. In my area, doing what I do, if you know what's worth your time and what's just scrap, and you focus on what's worth your time, that's the big thing, is you got to figure out a target area. I deliberately target AYP based machines. I do my research, I figure out exactly what machines are AYP based, and I target those. I also target certain types of MTD platforms that are interchangeable. There are certain types of MTD platforms that are sold across a whole ton of brands, in which are all interchangeable, that the only thing that changes is the color of the hood and the color of the pan that you sit on, and that is it. If you target those, then you can be able to interchange parts and literally just swap hoods and go. Actually, roll that back. There are 2 or 3 that have different dashes. And so if you have those dashes, those interchange also, but keep to the idea of never swapping out more body panels and dashes than you have to. Drivetrain is always easier to swap out than body panels are. And so just keep it rolling. 1045s, Troy-built Broncos, Yardman, Bug Machines, certain Craftsman, the LT1000 that they released in the last 5 years is interchangeable to all of those if it has the F&R left-hand shifter. And the key is watching for the double brake, the brake and gas up and over on the right with the left-hand MTD forward neutral reverse shifter. If it's got that set up, the only thing that is different on those is the hood, the dash, and the body pan. And those are all interchangeable. But the mechanical drivetrain underneath every single one of those is all exactly the same. And you can swap those over. And that's the reason why it is I target certain Husqvarnas, certain Pool & Pros, certain Craftsmans, and there's another brand, and I'm forgetting it right now. Airines, I think it is, that I'm trying to think of, that all use the exact same AYP chassis, which makes them all interchangeable. And yet again, the only thing that swaps over is the hood, the dash, and the body pan. So keep that in mind. That's what you want to do, is you want to find something prolific in your area that you can target in order to be able to set up a junkyard, in order to be able to pull parts from. And once you set up that rollover, that's when you're going to be able to go and actually make money. Spartan came back with another comment in order to say, I took a test light and there's no power to starter. When you turn the key, the battery is good because it works in another tractor. Without question, I guarantee it's your stupid clutch safety switch or brake safety switch, depending on what user's manual you're reading. I would convert it to push button. It takes next to nothing. Like, seriously, go straight on to RCG Racing. Look at the rewire build that I just posted. The thumbnail for that will be my friend's blue tractor. Take a look at that. I guarantee you'll be able to get it up and running with that. Let's see. Dude is wicked at mowers. Well, I'm something when it comes to mowers. Wicked good, as they say in Maine up here. Let's see. I have my 2000 Simplicity Brockmore with hydro transmission. I'm doing a pulley swap and have been taking the pulleys off. What size pulleys do you recommend getting it to near 30 miles per hour? If it's a hydro, you're not going to pulley swap it and hit 30 miles per hour. There's literally basically about 3 transmissions that are capable of doing pulley swaps to hit 30 miles per hour on hydros. And if you had one of them, you would know it. Because the lowest cost one is about $1,600 in retail, with the highest cost one being about $2,200. You're not going to do it. You can pulley swap a hydro, and you can get it to about 12 to 15 miles per hour, but you will significantly, without question, shorten its lifespan. And if you get a full summer out of it, I will be amazed. I planned on touching on that topic until this whole John in school thing happened. And now we've got snow and we've got freezing. Last night it got down to 6 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. So I was planning on getting into that hydro thing and discussing that more with you guys, but right now it's more focusing on what's in the garage right now. If I end up with some open time, I'll try and pull the hydro in and discuss it with you guys more and do some in-depth on it. But if you have a hydro and you pulley swap it, you'll get a season of mud mowing out of it, maybe. If you're just speeding around the yard because you want to pull a trailer around faster or something like that, and you do a very mild pulley swap on it, then you probably will manage to go and get a year or two out of it. But the moment you pulley swap a hydro, you're guaranteed to blow it. It's just when. It's not a matter of if once you pulley swap a hydro, it's when you're going to blow it. Is there preferred tractors to look for when flipping brands, engines, and sizes? I'm pretty sure I just touched on that topic. So hopefully you were paying attention at that point, and go with that. Let's see. Hello from a bunch of different people. Craftsman Crusher, my school keeps changing from home to in-person learning. Yeah, that's what's happened with John, along with a bunch of other overly complicated BS that happened. He's been swapped in and out of in-person to remote to in-person to remote. He's literally on his third teacher at this point, and it's just been a bunch of whatever. So at this point, he's so far behind that he needs somebody to buckle down and get him caught up and really grind on it. And that's why we're pulling 8 to 9 hours Monday through Friday in order to get all of this caught up. And so I appreciate you guys, getting a hold of me, and a bunch of you checking in on me and everything else. And you guys you become a family, and I really appreciate that side of YouTube. And that's why we're doing the chat today. And who knows, maybe we'll move the chat cycle to doing Saturday mornings every once in a while or something. Wednesdays have become a day. That's the other thing that's happened, is that I have a buddy of mine that works on large machinery. And by large machinery, I mean like large. I mean loaders and skid steers and giant 12 cubic yard and 18 cubic yard dump trucks and dozers and you name it. Like the man lift you guys saw in a recent video and things like that. And I have another friend who runs a plow truck business. He runs gravel. He runs a bunch of other stuff. And the pandemic has been hard on both of them. And so I've been lending a hand and helping them out in a situation of, you help me and I help you and stuff like that. I was helping rebuild a skid steer, which is how the whole man lift and treehouse thing happened and stuff like that. And when you're a YouTuber, you have to respect that other people are not comfortable with documenting and videoing stuff. And you have to respect when it is that they're comfortable and when it is that they're not comfortable. And you have to respect the fact that every time you add a video camera into a situation, it makes everything take longer. There's a YouTube how-to, thing that people say that every 15 minutes worth of video footage takes 1 hour of prep, and every 15 minutes of video footage becomes 3 minutes worth of actual video. And that is a real life thing when you're a how-to YouTuber. For every 3 minutes of video that you guys see, I've got at least an hour and 15 minutes usually into it. So if you see 3 minutes, every 3 minutes, that's an hour of my life that I spent making that. How-to YouTube stuff is never a wing it situation. It is a grind it situation. So if you're ever watching a how-to YouTuber and stuff like that, every 3 to 5 minutes you see of that video clip, they probably have an hour worth of time into that. So keep that in mind when you're watching stuff. And that's the difference between good video versus half buttery. I couldn't find a PG version for that one. We'll say it that way. But anyways, that's I get a lot of people asking me for advice on starting up a YouTube channel. And for the love of whatever you believe in, get a bloody tripod. That's the number one thing I tell everybody who wants to start YouTube. Don't run around with the camera. The moment you start Blair Witch Trial running around with that camera, most people are going to click out. And if you do have to run around with the camera, every once in a while, apologize to your viewers for the fact that you're going to make them seasick. Just don't do it. Get a tripod. In today's world, it costs $20 to buy a tripod that has a phone mount and everything. Just do it. Spend the money. You will recuperate the investment 300 times over. Let me see. Cheers from Canada. Cool. Let's see. I always talk about Furby nests since the Cub Cadet video. Yep. Yeah, people like the Furbies. That's why I keep them in the videos and stuff. And kids love to go and watch for them. Do I suggest to take lawnmower batteries in the house in the winter? I used to. The lawn tractor videos into the house during the winter is a do as I say, not as I do statement. If you're going to end up in temperatures, see, the problem is everybody has a different temperature in winter. If I'm talking to you guys in Canada, then you guys understand what it's like here in Maine and worse. But if I'm talking to you guys in Florida, then your temperatures in winter very rarely get below 40 degrees. And 40 degrees is what I tell everybody. If you're going to end up in temperatures 40 to 30 degrees or lower, and you're going to put that tractor away for what you consider winter, then yes, I do recommend bringing your batteries into the house. That is something that I do recommend, is once you get below 40 degrees, you're going to start decreasing the lifespan of your battery. And especially when it comes to lithium stuff. Any of your lithium stuff, if you're going to start getting below 30 degrees, you need to be bringing it inside to something that stays at least above 40, whether it's a mudroom, whether it's a section of your garage that stays consistent, something like that. Don't leave the lithium battery packs out in your vehicle. Put them in a grab bag that you can throw into the vehicle on your way out the door, and that you can immediately grab when you get out of the vehicle. They will die. They will die 3 times faster, guaranteed, if you leave them in a vehicle below 30 degrees. The newer ones with the screens on them and stuff, those screens, the moment those screens get below 20 degrees, they won't even display. So when you hook them up, you have no readout whatsoever. You're doing it by just hopes and dreams at that point. If they get below 20 degrees, the screens will die. And in fact, my newest one that has the screen, I ended up forgetting it out in a night that ended up down to 10 degrees. And because I had to use it the next morning in 10 degrees, it actually burned the ready symbol into the screen, so it's silhouetted when I ended up using it. So the lithium battery packs, you need to pull them out of vehicles, put them in a grab bag so that you can be able to come and go or whatever in a backpack or something like that. Do not leave them in the vehicle. I would show you what my grab bag is, except for the thing is, across the country right now, there are people that are deliberately breaking into utility trucks and vehicles in order to go and steal booster packs, because lithium booster packs are skyrocketing in price right now. If you have been debating ordering a lithium booster pack, I would totally recommend right now purchasing one, because the more the pandemic goes on, the higher the prices are getting on them because of supply and demand. The battery pack that I've been using, the Hillman whatever, the one that's in my this Hulkman, that's in my Cub Cadet 1+1=1 video. This is in the description if you're interested in buying one of these. These have gone up $25 since I made that video because of supply and demand. So if you need one, totally recommend right now. If you need one, purchase one. They're only going to go up. And the stock market, like I said, I work on the stock market when I have free time. The price on oils ended up tripling in under 3 weeks. Lithium price stocks have ended up doubling in the last month and a half. We're going to end up seeing anything that's lithium based, we're going to end up seeing drastic increases in. So just keep that in mind. If you need one, if you've been debating buying one, I thoroughly recommend go out and purchase one now. The other thing that I will recommend is do not bother purchasing one in a retail location. You end up spending upwards of 15% more to buy it in a retail location. Buy it from Amazon or someplace like that. By eliminating the retail location price of doing business, you save yourself about $15 on average. So just something to keep in mind. Let's see. I would like to, Troy says, I would like to see you finish John's pull start tractor. I would love to go and get a chance to go and finish that. The thing is, it's been, once winter plummets here in Maine, we basically have about a 2.5 month period where we are lucky to end up getting above freezing. And we've ended up hitting that period now. So we're going to focus on what's in the garage for projects. As I finish out those projects, I will cycle in stuff. My goal is about February to cycle John's tractor in, so that as spring comes around and when we start getting into spring cleaning, and at a time when John can be able to be useful with his tractor, which is what he really wants. John wants to be able to help. I love John. Respectfully, John is extremely small for his age, and he always has been. I myself was a runt. Without question, I was a runt. I am 6'1" now, close to 200 pounds. Definitely not considered a runt now, although I'm not huge. I literally wrestled the lowest possible weight class all through from 6th, 7th into 8th grade. I never transitioned out of the lightest weight class possible in wrestling. Just to give you an idea as to how runty I was. And John's going to be the same way, I'm pretty sure. So, which is really common genetically in my family. Almost all of us genetically in my family, we graduate being the shortest guy in the lineup as far as guys are concerned in high school. And we usually come back for a 5-year class reunion as one of the tallest. It's just the way my family grows. So he wants to be helpful. He wants to be able to do stuff around the yard. He wants to be able to go and have that mechanical advantage. And so we're going to focus on that most likely somewhere around February. I'm accumulating parts for that. I have an upgraded belt for it. I have upgraded tensioner pulley setup for it that I've been designing. I have a upgraded pedal system that I've been designing in order to be able to help John where he's so short. I found another seat for it, compliments of another build that we were working on. So we are going to bring that back. I need to wire it so it's got, John wants it wired with the kill switches that you see on jet skis. He wants it wired with a clip-on, in case of emergencies type thing. And I agree with that because he is quite small. And because of the clutch system that it has, once you have it in gear, if you slip, if you fall, if you anything, it's going to stay going. So he wants it set up with one of those kills. And I think that's a really good idea for him. So we're going to revisit that. It'll probably be February, though, because I still have a few more parts to get invested into. And that's where I'm at on it. So we're going to take a couple of more questions. And then I'm going to try to have some tea with some honey in it so that I have a voice in order to be able to make you guys some video this afternoon. And we'll go from there. So let's see a couple of other things and we'll go from here. Let's see. Do I prefer opposed or V twins? Hands down, I prefer to deal with V twins. There's a lot to be said for an opposed engine. And there's an old phrase about Buicks from back in the day, which was you buy a Buick, you love a Buick breaks down, you learn to hate your Buick, you sell the Buick. And that's the way that I feel about opposed engines. Once an opposed engine starts to have issues, it usually tends to be a snowball effect through the rest of the engine. If you end up having a carburetor problem in an opposed, once you end up doing the carburetor, half the time you blow a head gasket. If you end up having a coil failure in an opposed, half the time you'll do the coil and then you'll end up running into other issues with a starter or something like that. Inevitably, opposed twin repairs usually have snowball effects. And so I don't particularly care for dealing with that. With the exception of horizontal shaft opposed Briggs. I don't know what it is about those, but those things are massively bulletproof motors. The 18 horsepower Black Series opposed twin horizontal shafts are just plain and indestructible. They're the Jeep 4.0 of lawn tractor engines. Those things you have to do something utterly stupid to kill. Aside from the overpriced carburetors, which finally in the last year and a half, the Chinese market has finally caught up on, and decided to start producing $60 clones, because up until the Chinese market started producing $60 clones, a carburetor for those was $140 to $180 for a legitimate one. So their price has dropped to $60, sometimes as low as $45 now. That's the only really major problem with those. And so those I swear by. I love those things. They're just indestructible. You Seriously, I've seen them run for hours without any oil in them. They end up seizing up just a little bit without the oil. You pour some oil in, you turn it over with a breaker bar a couple of times. The rings reseat and they fire back up and they continue running. They're just amazing little motors. The vertical shaft ones, on the other hand, they're massive boat anchors. And the other thing is they massively outweigh a V-twin. I've talked about this in a few videos and a couple of other chats, but an 18 horsepower opposed Briggs & Stratton weighs 100 plus pounds. A V-twin 21 horsepower with more torque weighs 93 pounds with the same dress up. So keep that in mind when you're building stuff, that's a big thing. That's also the reason why it is opposed twins are a dime a dozen. I can go onto Marketplace and I can buy an opposed twin all year long for like $50. But yet again, that's the reason why, is because inevitably they snowball effect when you start fixing them. And people are learning this and people are running into this more often. And you end up finding them on Marketplace, usually with that description. So keep that in mind. Oh, another opposed twin thing that I will warn you about. Do not ever bother on opposed Briggs buying Chinese coils. They inevitably will overheat and they will die 3 months later, and you will just be ripping the stupid thing apart again. Don't ever bother. Buy the Oregon coil, pay the extra money, do it right. They're usually about $45, because if you kill the Chinese coil, then you just spent $40 total, because they're about $20. So you end up buying another one for $20. You only end up with 6 months out of it, basically, which means you should have just paid the $45 for the Oregon coil and been done with it. So that's the other trade thing that I'll pass on to you. Don't ever bother. They always overheat. They always die. Buy the real Oregon coil. It is the only way it's worth it. Let me see. Oh, earlier I saw a fellow YouTuber, Polar Bear Ed, stop in. Polar Bear, I meant to go and say something. Thank you very much for stopping in. If you guys are looking for somebody to watch, I know I don't do many engine videos. Engines are not my thing. I don't find it fun to rebuild engines. I don't like rebuilding engines. It's not my thing that I like to do. If you want to see somebody who knows Kohler twins, Polar Bear Ed, Polar, as in pulling something along, tugging, pulling Bear Ed, Polar, sorry, ER. That dude, he does engines. He does really amazing builds. I really like watching his stuff. He's really close to about to hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. So please go subscribe, give him a kick up, tell him RCG sent you, and say hi. Really cool guy. If we can kick him over the 1,000 mark, I'd appreciate it. He would appreciate it. And I think with that appreciation, I'm going to go and get done with today. I apologize to anybody whose question I did not get to. As always, you are welcome to go and send me an email. I check it at least once a day, usually twice a day. And I usually check my messenger through Redneck Computer Geek on Facebook. So feel free to drop in. I'm going to go find a cup of tea with some honey in it, see if I can get my voice back. If not, you'll probably hear me blaming you bunch of guys in one of my videos that I'll produce sometime Monday morning. Have fun, everyone.